Hello, this is wmpyr. In a very recent video, I talked about knife boxing. I was using the karambit, and the main message there was I don't recommend that people go into berserker rage. And yeah, so it's basically avoiding going all out, balls to the wall, full power, haymakers. I recommended that you step away from that and do your best not to do that in a real life situation, simply because from my personal experience, when I lived in bad neighborhoods at these apartments, in the dumpsters, there would be furniture, all kinds of furniture, from table to couches to sofas to chairs and stuff, and I would bring them back to my apartment. I would drag them back, and I would set them up, and I would practice on them. I would go to town on them. I wanted as many different materials like wood or fabric or whatever. I wanted to experience all that. And when I went, all out, because I was trying to mimic a real life situation where the adrenaline's going to be pumping and it's going to be intense. So I was like, man, this is it. I got to go full force. If not, it's them or me. It's my life is on the line. So I'd go as hard as I can. And what I found surprised me. I'd hurt my hands. That I would disarm myself. It would just, because of the force being applied, it would give in to weird angles, and I would, make the knife come out of my hand, and sometimes it even flew out of my hand, which is very dangerous. But that was a big lesson that I learned, and I tried to pass that on to my students without the danger of what I went through, because I don't want it to fly and stab them in the face or something, But yeah, I do try to get my students to experience that, a little bit of discomfort, a little bit of pain, and go, look, you see, you got to tone it down. It's not a comfortable thing. So if you tone it down, it'll work better for you. And, that's just purely from my own experience. Another thing I could tell you is like with a punching bag, when I'm practicing my boxing, I put on the hand wraps to give me nice structure support on the hands, the wrist. It almost acts like tendons and stuff, and to cover up the knuckles. And on top of that, I wear the gloves. And I'll tell you this, if I go full force, I will hurt my hand. I will hurt myself. It's just, and last month I was in a little bit of pain because I overexerted a little too much. I try to control it, but still you get excited, and it's not an easy thing. It sounds easy to, control yourself and not go all out, but in a real life situation, I guarantee you it's going to be very difficult. So you have to train that. You have to put in the discipline. Another example I could give you is there's a tree, and you give me an axe and you say, hey, cut down that tree. And if I went all out trying to cut down that tree, I'm pretty sure I would hurt myself. But instead, if I use strategy, and if I, cut it like so, and I have this technique, and I'm using a proper swing, proper stroke, and I'm letting the weight of the axe fall in rather than forcing it with my arms, then it's doable. It's totally doable, and I can definitely see that I won't hurt myself if I do it that way. So what does that tell you? That tells me that, with all three things that seem super different, one is training for knife combat, another is training for a sport, boxing, and then another is cutting down a tree. Super different stuff, but all three of them to me gave me the same message, which was you got to control it, you got to be disciplined, you got to be strategic, you got to be smart about things, you got to be efficient. So those to me are all the same messages in martial arts, and I don't see why it would change for sport or street or military. I really don't. I think it's, that's my way of thinking, and it makes total sense. It works for all of that. So that's what I try to teach you guys, and that was my message in the last video. Now, that being said though, in martial arts, you go into a dojo or the gym and you're training, and what are you doing? You're trying to get down your body mechanics, right? You're trying to learn that. What is that? Body mechanics is basically, what are we doing? We're trying to develop power. That's the bottom line. We want power. That's what we're working on. So you might be going, wait a minute, why are you developing power when you just said you shouldn't be using power? You shouldn't be striking with power, but you're saying you got to develop power. There's a contradiction there. And actually there isn't, but this is a dilemma area that a lot of people get confused with this, okay? So hopefully I can make it very clear for you all in this video. Let me explain. What it is it's power developed in the right manner, in the correct way. So this power is developed through being efficient. Look at a boxer. Look at a karateka. You know, the good ones become very efficient in their movement. Just watching their body mechanics, it looks sharp. It looks razor sharp. It looks really good. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to develop this power, okay? Because once you do, the way that you're developing it with body mechanics, using your body movement, your structure of your body, once you do that and you develop it that way, you're going to notice that power doesn't come from one source. Power comes from multiple sources. There's multiple things that you can do to create synergy, to create awesome power. But there's a lot of little things like putting your shoulders in, putting your hip in, putting your footwork in, you know, angling the right way. You know, there's a lot of things in there. The wrist snap, you know, and they all combine together and help you maximize your power. But there's a bunch of little things. What that means is you're going to have a volume control because you don't have to put them all together. You could just do one thing. You could just go, I'm just going to put my wrist snap in there, or I'm just going to put my shoulder in there, or I'm just going to use footwork, you know, or I'm just going to drop my weight. That's it, you know, or combine some. You don't have to combine everything. So that gives you a volume control, right? And why is that important? That is so important because in a real life situation, now you have to, once we go back to what we were saying earlier about being having strategy, being technical, you know, incorporating all the things about reality, what happens in a real life situation, then you may not want to go 100%. You might want to go 40%, 30%, 10%, you know, so you're going to be adjusting. What makes you adjust? Well, the environment and the situation and your opponent, because maybe there's an opening, and if there's an opening, you might go much higher, but you go, this guy's tough, so I may not be able to knock him out, and I don't want to make myself expend too much energy just in case the fight continues on. So then maybe I'll go 70%. I'm not going to go full-blown 100% and make myself tired. No, I'll go 70%. I can handle that. So you adjust like so. Or what if it was raining? What if it's slippery? You don't want to do a full force and then, you know, risk yourself from falling over. And then also, you don't want to expose yourself. You want to commit less. So maybe you're going, this guy's watching me, so then I don't want to go 80%. I want to go much, much less. I want to go 20%. So I don't commit as much. So that's the real life stuff that happens is going to make you change the volume and not go 100% full power, okay? But you need to know how to do that, okay? So that's super, super important. So in training, you got to work on power, okay? So please don't misunderstand that. In a real life situation, you're not just going to go full blast, full volume and not pay attention to what's going on, you know? And once again, the knife itself, the grip on the knife, it may not be your best knife that's in your hand at the moment, and the grip may not be that great. So in that case, you're going to have to bring down the power unless you want to hurt your hand or you want to drop the knife. So there's a lot of things now that in a real life situation you got to adjust to, and that's why you need the volume control, and that's why I'm saying it's not a good idea to go just balls out, you know, swinging, you know, with a blaze of glory. That's not a very good strategy. You can watch professional fights, and 9 times out of 10, that doesn't work, and that's why they don't do that, you know. So anyway, that's it for now. Thank you for watching, and take care, folks.